pushed also.
Push the button.
Whoa. We are live.
Turn it on and end it at the same time. Hi, everybody.
Who are you?
JohnPaduchak.com.
Oh, good. I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelman of Maximize Your Media and Life Beyond Practice, where we teach doctors how to have more free time, freedom, and fun with their own online businesses.
And I'm Troy McDonald of LiveEventMarketers.com, or the Facebook group Live Event Marketers, where we help you to promote and talk about everything that's live streaming, as far as either you individually or events, anything like that.
Cool.
And we're live streaming.
And we are live streaming. And we are live streaming into the group of Live Event Marketers as well.
Awesome.
Very awesome. So
wait, did I put that in, or did you put that in, Troy? I think I might have done it. I didn't want to double it. Okay, I didn't want to double it.
Yeah.
I realized that we did that with Rich Jeffrin the other day. We both posted it. So
yeah,
I don't want to step on the Troy McDonald toes.
Well, no, it's just I think we were really, when we both posted it or added to the group, it was like a minute or two off, because I was like, I posted it, then I went back in, and then boom, there was yours, and so I was like, oh.
I was just so excited to see Rich doing live broadcast, because he has for many years been in his shell and not doing live broadcasts. He'd appear on a stage someplace, and he would do the occasional webinars, but he would never do this before. And so he started with Ecamm Live, and then we saw that kind of implode.
No, he didn't start with Ecamm Live.
Oh, he didn't? What did he start with?
No, he started with Be Live.
Okay.
And then they got Ecamm, but I think what they did with Ecamm is that they went like right into using it. Oh, wow, look at this. We've already got comments. This
really? What is this? Nathan Briggs.
This isn't
It might be. How do you know?
We're younger than we look.
We're this, yeah. And so then I think, because with Ecamm, it's powerful, and you can kind of use it right out the box, in a sense of not really knowing a whole ton. But I could tell he didn't know anything really what he was doing.
Oh, okay.
So then he jumped back, I think, to Be Live. But then I think I assume they're going to learn to use Ecamm. But like I say, it's really not that difficult for doing basic stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I thought it was a bandwidth issue for him, and it turned out he said it was his computer. So I don't know, maybe he ran out of RAM, for all we know.
No, well, from what I saw, it looked like he ran it fine. I mean, it was running fine. He just didn't know what to do.
Okay, because it started getting pixelated, and the sound got choppy, and it was just.
Well, you know how it is. Like, you got somebody else on the old bandwidth.
Oh yeah, probably two or three kids playing video games.
Challenging everywhere these days. So, hey, can we hop into today's topic?
We're hopping into networking.
I thought we were networking right now.
We're networking with each other. We're name dropping.
Yes.
We are.
Which can be an interesting tip in networking. You know, my buddy Rich Jeffrin says, but anyway, so when we're talking about networking, I guess most of us think about not the junior chamber of commerce, but the senior chamber of commerce, or just the regular old chamber of commerce, the BNI networking meetings, and any sort of business groups that people have in their particular town. But now with social distancing or physical distancing, we still need to be socially connected, particularly to drum up new business. So that's why we chose networking tips, tricks, and whatever else we can come up with.
I'd even say networking really is just you talking to somebody else. So whether it's a group or it's like a one-on-one, I mean, it's connecting.
Connecting, building rapport. En rapport, as they say in the French.
But okay, I'm gonna start out with something that, again, you're gonna get one of Troy's pet peeve type things.
Uh-oh. Is it my hat?
Oh no, your hat's
okay, good. Thank goodness. It's presidential seal. So.
And it is approved. Okay, so when I see a lot, so if even look at my group, okay, I see people that come in, or let me take one step back. We all are lazy, right? I mean, in reality. So we want to do the least amount of effort to get the biggest bang for our buck. And in networking in general, it doesn't work that way. Meaning that I see a lot of people, like in my group, which is about, sharing live streams, live events that are based on business and marketing.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of people that will come in and basically just boom, drop their, hey, here's the information of our live event or live stream, or, you know, or my live stream, you know, they're an individual. And then they expect people just to show up when they haven't interacted with the group. The group really doesn't know them. There's no, you know, again, that connection. There's no friend level. There's no, unless they have their own status or fame that they kind of bring with them to where, for example, like Rich Sheffrin. So we have Rich Sheffrin in there, but people know him at least, right?
Yeah.
Now, ideally, he can get even more mileage from the group if he then interacted with the group.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the biggest thing that I see people. Again, it's natural. We want the least amount of effort, but the most amount of, you know, results and positive, you know, stuff coming out the other side of the pipe. As like I talked about the other day, stuff in the pipe, right? But again, that's the overall thing that to me is the biggest pet peeve in general, is that people, I know it's a natural tendency, but we have to become real with ourselves that you're not going to get anything if you're not really providing anything, so to speak.
I think it's better to be dropping value bombs than it is just to be dropping your links.
Yeah, you know, as I always like to put it, in our instant gratification society, you can't microwave relationships,
but you can Instagram them.
They take time to develop. So
I actually really like how you say that. I really like how you said that it's it is that instant gratification, and then you can't you literally can't microwave. And that's the interesting thing, because I also, it brings up another thought, is that I see some people, it depends on what situation you're in, right? Because it is kind of like networking in a sense can be sort of quick depending on what you have to offer and who you're connecting with. Like those relationships can be built and started and move forward really quick, and there can be some results. I think in general networking, though, that people don't like to really think about, or just kind of give themselves a reality check, is that they actually typically take, again, they're not microwave, they're more long-term play. And people nowadays, again, are like, I ain't nobody got no time for that long-term play stuff. I want it now. You know, kind of like the Willy Wonka, you know, Veruca Salt. I want it now. And she just, she was a bad egg, you know, because you don't remember Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka?
I have not memorized all the names of all the characters. Okay. Like, well,
that was the girl that was the stuck-up little brat, red dress. You know, she wanted everything from her dad, and she wanted it now. And that is the thing. It's, you know, networking can be, or I should say, typically looked at more of a medium to long-term play. But then I also think that, you know, it creates longer things that you can keep dipping into, you know, maybe because you have a relationship. It's not so much just flash in the pan, because I think you can do certain flash in the pan type things, but then it creates, to me, flash in the pan money. And for people that are trying to build a business that's long-term, you can't build a business on flash in the pan money.
No. And I was going to say, you know, sometimes in networking, things work out quickly. So like, for instance, you know, the night that Dr. V was on and he was talking about all this different stuff with live video, and Eric Louvier introduced me to you, like, super quick.
Was it in the comment stream, or where was that?
In the comment stream.
In the comment stream. So we went back and forth in the comments is what it was. Yeah. And
then I had another one today where I'm talking with a friend of mine. I haven't connected with him in a while, and we're chatting, and he's in the tiny house industry. And I had just seen, and I had been following, that Tellman wanted to start a tiny house community.
Tellman, yep.
Introduced him. So he sells a great product, you know, and these manufactured tiny houses are awesome and really, really nice. So
can you just put your camper on blocks? Can you just put your camper on blocks and call it a tiny house?
A lot of people do that.
No way.
A lot of people.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people will take, you know, trailers, and they're essentially all of the camping equipment has been transferred over into that tiny house industry. So like the small water heaters, all of that stuff is just transferred.
That's pretty interesting.
Into that community. So it's kind of a combination between the regular.
So what would you say is the difference between networking on digital platforms and in live video as opposed to networking in a real live person-to-person press the flesh event?
You know, it's funny because I think the one challenge for a lot of people, especially, there's a lot of us that are introverts. So it's harder to do a lot of this stuff in person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it gives introverts an advantage to
Mm-hmm.
be able to network virtually because it takes kind of that pressure off of being able to do that.
Yeah, because you don't have to wear pants.
Yeah.
It's bonus.
That might be TMI.
I have pants. Do you want me to show you?
No, just in case.
Just in case. Just in case.
But you know, at the same time, I think that there also is the biggest fear. I think that, you know, or it has been touted as the biggest fear, public speaking, though. So think about it, whether you're in person or whether you're like on a live stream like this, where whether you're introvert or extrovert, you know, because then again, I'm like, can an extrovert have a fear of public speaking? Yeah, they can have fear. Of course they can. Even, I mean, or at least a little bit of nervousness.
A lot of extroverts would have a fear of public speaking because there's a big difference in getting up on a stage versus being around 3 people at a party.
I know, that's why it's like, yeah, no, of course I can, because I'm more of an extrovert, but I definitely get the nervousness kind of thing, you know, whenever I speak at an event, whether it is like a live stream or it has been, you know, kind of face to face with people really right there in the crowd. So yeah, but okay, yeah, I don't know where I was going to go with that.
I think the fact is we were looking at, you know, what's the difference between doing a digital networking as opposed to being at a real live event where you're passing out your business cards and chit-chatting and enjoying something over drinks, which we only do on Fridays.
Well, you know, that brings up a really good look at you.
Oh, you're drinking now?
All the time. I love this guy. Hey, so the other thing that brings up, and that's another thing that we've been working on a lot, is virtual business cards, digital business cards.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many times, you know, we do meet people at live events. We take a business card, and whatever happens to it, half the time it gets lost before it even gets home, and we even get a chance to look at it again. So that's another aspect of networking that we're trying to make easier for people in exchanging digital business cards.
Well, that actually brings up a point too of the simple fact of follow-up. So in other words, building that relationship, you know, after the fact, because I mean, think about it. Okay. So how I originally, you know, met you guys, of course, John through a friend of ours, but then you guys had done the live stream and say, hey, somebody, you know, if you'd like to come on, and then I've kind of been on a little more regularly. Right. But let's just say, you know, maybe I did one of these with you guys, right? And then say a week later, I'm hitting you up with a, you know, an instant message or a direct message or personal message. I don't even know what to call them nowadays, right? Same thing, no?
Right.
DMs, PMs,
yeah,
OMGs.
You know, and I was like, hey, John, or hey, Dr. V, you know, I was wondering, like, you know, could you help me with this? Now, depending on what it was, you know, there's that initial tendency to kind of like, well, okay, wait a minute, like I still really don't know you, and now you're kind of like taking from my or we evaluate that is this person taking from my personal time or my personal resources, or even just my resources in general. Like, hey, can you introduce me? Hey, John, can you introduce me to such and so that you know, or Dr. V, this person that you know? Well, I would think in general, with a one-time meet, you're not going to really know me, and you're going to be a little more shied away. You know, you're going to shy away from like, I don't know.
If somebody buttered you up saying, hey, I really enjoyed being part of your broadcast last week, I was just wondering, is there a chance you could do it? I think a lot of depends on how they approach you.
I think it depends on who it is and who introduced you to. Because
that's true too.
Mark introduced you to me, and Mark and I are very, very close friends, and so you've already gained a big foothold with me right away.
Right.
You know?
But at the same time, I think it also what I'm trying to allude to, because those are actually very valid points. The other part is that I'm saying of that follow-up process. In other words, the continuation of building a relationship. So now it's even stronger, even though, like, you know, Mark is like a good testimonial, so to speak, for me, right? But the simple fact that we've continued to connect is building that that pool of connection.
And it makes him
versus
very
the-
happy too, may I add. Because he's like, oh man, I'm so glad I connected you guys, because it's a relationship that I can see keeps flourishing and keeps going, which is great. He's excited that he did that, and he's more likely to say, hey, do you know, actually he has. He's gone, hey, do you know so-and-so? And do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, no, okay, we'll have to introduce you to them sometime soon. So that's the other thing, taking quick action on something like that and moving forward with it. Now I can see, we've developed a nice little relationship. Oh, I should introduce you to more people that I know. That goes a long ways too. But you started to roll right into my pet peeve. So my pet peeve is when people come to me, not even knowing me, and just out of the box are like, hey, can you promote my this? Can you do that? Who the heck, who are you?
Oh, I call that LIDS, which is LinkedIn douche syndrome, because you've met a connection and they immediately pitch you.
Wow.
Son of a pitch.
Yeah.
It's like, and I just ignore those people thereafter, because that's just not the way to approach a person.
I know. I actually tried to rework one once just for fun. And
I've done that too.
I felt like
that's sort of, I kind of go back and forth.
No, I felt like I was gaining ground. One of my friends goes, what are you doing?
Why are you engaging?
Let's take it as an experiment and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And then it's like it didn't really matter. So I'm convinced that I can't turn somebody around who's got that mentality anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't even try. So I said, let me just try it once. Because I never had, So I did. It was a big failure.
Yeah, I think that too, that it really seems that if they're just willing to hit you up from not knowing you, from nothing, and not even buttering you up really too well, sometimes just a flat out boom, it to me already sends that signal like they are completely self-focused. So there's no turning that around. They're like hyper self-focused.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's not really a desire to help. There's a desire to take.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I mean by the hyper self-focus. Yeah, it's a complete, I want to take. Yeah. And that's, and that really is something that I'm continuing to reinforce within my group, the live event marketers, is that it's great and all for you to, announce your stuff, but post other things that are related, or post wins, post, losses, post how-tos, to where the group gets to know you.
Right.
And then to me, if I were to kind of say, what's the one thing you could tell people to do, how to get the most benefit of the group? It's network.
Mm-hmm.
It's the networking. However, people don't, I think people just, I get that. But that was one of those things, like I talked about the other day, that you can understand something, but if you don't implement it, then it doesn't matter that you understand it.
Right.
Yeah. It's like one of my instructors years ago said, whoever said that knowledge is power clearly didn't. Because you know a lot of stuff doesn't mean you're going to do a lot of stuff.
Right.
Actually, I like how that was phrased. I'm going to write this down now. I really liked how that was phrased, just because
Mark Percival. I love that one. He was a naturopathic doctor and a chiropractor up in Ontario. Yeah, and so it's like whoever says knowledge is power clearly didn't understand human behavior.
Clearly.
I will give him credit for that until such time as I steal that quote.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to start a relationship with someone if you treat it as a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you today?
Start with that.
How's your camper doing, John?
Yeah, find some commonality, just like you would in a conversation. Don't just immediately hit somebody.
Well, and we did that, which was really interesting, because then I found out that you'd gone to Rochester Institute of Technology. I was like, RIT, it's close to Buffalo. I grew up in Buffalo, and you go back and forth. And now he's leaving as soon as I start talking about him. But
he already got bored of the story.
I scared him off, is what happened.
He's like, I was there for it. Why do I need to hear it?
I was there. Don't tell me things all over again. So
I had to let him in.
You had to let who in?
My cat.
I thought you said your kid. Let my kid in.
No, I don't have any kids that are that small. They can't open the door.
I see. Anymore. They can't fit through the doggy door or the cat door. So,
but it's interesting too. There are the people that will start out, that conversation like, how are you doing? And when they come from, when you don't know them at all, I'm always like, okay, wait a minute, where is this going? Because I'm waiting for like
Yeah,
3
that's a
sentences,
little.
and then they go, can you put my thing?
It's a little creepy sometimes when some people approach you online. And the best, I
Yeah.
mean, I keep going back to LinkedIn only because that's the place where I've seen the greatest number of offenses. I mean, beyond Twitter, beyond any number of other places, because they just zoom right in for the kill as soon as they connect with you. Or the typical thing is, I see we have a lot of friends in common. I thought it would be a good idea to connect. But there are even ways of rephrasing that so it's a little bit more interesting. Like, you know, really liked your post on such and such. Yeah. And then you pause, let it rest for a couple of days or maybe even a week, and then come back again. Yeah. It's like dating. You're not gonna ask the person to marry you on the first date unless you're, I mean, that convinced. And they turn you down several times, you know.
It's an oddity.
I didn't steal anything. I just didn't ask you.
Well, I was going to say that exactly. I said, not only are they not on the part of asking you out for a date, they're actually already at the honeymoon.
Well, they've got the room key.
Yeah, and
they've just like, met you, and they're dangling a room key.
I know. It's crazy.
By the way, for those of you listening and watching, that is not the way to network. Just in case you're not paying attention.
That's what we're trying to say.
Have coffee first.
Coffee is good. Yeah, a little coffee. Let's go out for water.
That could be a first date. I mean, you know, that's the whole thing. I mean,
or even commenting in somebody's stream several times over the course of weeks, that gets you noticed. And people who really like your comments, they'll hit you up with the love and the little heart instead of just the like. And I think people underestimate the power of putting comments because people really will notice you. I mean, there's some particularly impressive people whom I know who will actually answer comments themselves rather than give it off to a VA, particularly if you've got something useful to say or you're just seem to be a nice person.
Right. Or make somebody a personalized video.
Yeah, that's even better. Boy, yeah.
They go a long ways.
Yeah.
So there's so many great ways to do stuff. I wish I could just read some of the stuff that I get on LinkedIn.
Just do it, and that would be a great broadcast just by itself. We'll just read all of our LinkedIn messages.
Maybe next time I'll do that.
I think that would be just great. I really do. You could spend easily a half hour just reading those.
I'm going to dig one out right now, just because.
You know, actually, what would make a good comedy stream is to read LinkedIn stuff, and then to read. I mean, you could pick about any product, but on Amazon. Yeah. Have you ever seen some of those questions where people are like, let's say it's because I've been looking at some grain mills recently, you know, to do your own flour and stuff. Yeah. And you look at some of the comments, so somebody will say, so are the stones, because they grind, a lot of them will grind with the actual stones, right? So are the stones replaceable? And you'll get somebody that will respond, I don't know, mine hasn't arrived yet.
Oh boy.
Or just something off the wall like, I'm out of town, so I can't answer that question.
I'm out of town, so I can't answer your question.
Like, I don't understand.
But you've already answered the question.
Yeah, exactly. It may not have been a good answer, but I don't know, it just cracks me up. So it's interesting to see human nature in general, right? Bless their heart.
Bless their little heart.
Then you have no clue.
God bless.
But I think so. Let's look at like maybe why people don't network then, or why isn't it implemented? So we're looking at, we've kind of talked about like implementing it incorrectly, right? And so why do you think people don't actually network?
They don't know how to make friends.
That's probably number one. A good one.
At least they don't, or they may not have many meaningful relationships and friendships. That's quite possible.
It's possible.
So
they're too busy. Like you see that, but you see this with a lot of younger kids. They're just on the phone all the time and they won't make eye contact with you. I think there's some basics that people need to learn, which is, and I think that's part of the problem too with doing live streaming. You know, look at, in my case, the MacBook, I've got the little green dot. So I'm looking at the green dot, not looking at you guys. Mm-hmm. So eye contact is probably one of the greatest things that you can do. And it's a little disconcerting at first not to be looking at your faces, but staring into the abyss of the green dot.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a certain amount, but people, I'm just astounded at how many people refuse to make eye contact with you when you do meet in person. Now, I understand the whole physical distancing thing now, but I'm talking years ago where people just wouldn't look you in the eye.
Well, I agree. When it comes to like webinars, if I'm presenting to a group, I will do the the green dot a lot, so they get that feeling that I'm actually talking to them.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm doing something like this, I'm actually looking at you guys because you guys know that I'm looking at you. You know what I mean? Versus
here's looking at you, kid.
Here's looking at you guys.
You're looking at me, you're looking at you. So I get that.
Yeah. So yeah, I get that that connection, and that's interesting. Then can it be learned, or is it just hopeless for people? Do you think?
Oh, it can definitely be learned. You just have to overcome your fear of connecting with other people. I think when people have been, and when it comes to networking, one of the things that I can sense is that if you've had a lot of disappointments in your life, or maybe you've had some abuse, or you've had situations where around other people where you felt extremely uncomfortable, we tend to carry those things further on into adulthood. And it's almost like you have to unlearn all the protective things that you learned early on when you felt you were being attacked in social situations.
It's interesting too, because I've talked about in the past live streams, I'm talking about, well, at least get your toe in, right? I think in certain circumstances where you've talked about, getting in the pool,
jump in.
I think, I actually think, say, for example, like live streaming and everything too, you have to kind of just really jump in. Now, I mean, I guess you can't do something like use John's like 30-day challenge, live challenge group. And that could be, I guess, considered a toe in the water kind of thing, because it's more of a safe group. Everybody else is experimenting, learning, getting used to it, and that kind of thing. At the same time, I can still consider it getting in the water, though, because I think that's what you have to do with the networking thing, in a sense, or reaching out to somebody. You just kind of just got to go for it. I mean, you can't maybe ping somebody and then okay, I'm not even going to look because I know they responded, but I can't handle it anymore. Well, it's like you either got to do it or you don't do it. Yeah. But I think people can learn that as well. What I'm saying is that they have to actually just do it, get in and do it.
Yeah. When I started my chiropractic practice, one of the things that my practice management group was insisting that I do was go out and knock on the doors of people all over the neighborhood. They wanted me to do 1,000. I only got to about 350, 360 or so. And just surveying the neighborhood person to person, like a Fuller brush salesman. I'm thinking of opening up a practice in the neighborhood, this and that. Is it a good place? And this. That was way out of my comfort zone. I was door to door. And it was because I was the super introverted kid who would rather pay for all of the chocolate bars for the school fundraiser from my allowance than try to sell anybody one of those chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So by nature, I'm an introvert, but nobody thinks that. So,
I would never guess that. I would have never guessed that.
No. I think I became an ambivert over time because I was taught very clearly, stranger danger, don't talk to strangers, they're dangerous. And then when I opened up the doors to my first practice, every new patient was a stranger. And so, boy, I had to quickly change that belief system because I was freaking out that there were strangers coming towards me.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you're thrown into the water without a life preserver, you move pretty quickly.
That was pretty much it. I was doggy paddling the whole time.
I went through the same thing. I remember when I first started work here, when I moved to Massachusetts, I went to work for a company as an engineer. And I remember sitting there and going, wow, I really don't know how this is all going to work out. This just isn't quite my personality. And the more I got into it and went along, the more I realized I just wasn't really meant for that environment. In fact, my boss noticed that. And he said to me one day, he goes, I'd like to do your job in marketing because I think it more suits your skill set. And then, after 25 years and 30 years of marketing and sales and all that, you become a pretty good networker. I like to think it's a natural talent, but it's not. It's one that took a long time to develop.
Hello, Martina from Tulsa. One of my favorite chiropractic doctors and mentors was from Tulsa, Dr. Reynaldo Christian Romero. Unfortunately, passed away a few years ago. Tulsa's beautiful. Tulsa's beautiful, though.
Hey, let's give a shout out, Dr. V, to Terry right there. She's
Terry, where are you?
She's on the live comments.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't see her.
Hey, Terry, hi, Martin.
Yeah, Terry's from Corpus Christi.
Corpus. I've never been to Corpus. I didn't even get, not even Padre Island. I'm sad because I lived in Houston for a year or so.
Now Terry, I know, I would call her an extrovert. Terry.
Well, she was commenting right away and saying that I was up late the other night. I said, "Well, I'm 2 hours away from you."
Yeah, you're California. She's in Texas.
Yeah. I love Texas, but I was more of a hill country person, like Austin, San Antonio. I escape Houston whenever possible, but I never went to the beaches, which is kind of sad.
It's funny too that's how we get, after a while, we start trying to peg people that we're talking with to decide, are they introverted? Are they extroverted? What's my,
A lot of times you can't tell. I can tell you, in quite a few performers whom I've known over the years, from folks who are on Broadway and folks who are involved in the movie industry, they are mostly introverts who have adapted the performance persona to kind of cover up the fact that they're extraordinarily shy.
That does not surprise me, Terry.
Yeah. What happened to Terry? Wait a minute. Oh, now, see, I'm getting delays on these comments. Big time delays.
So Terry said, I made door cars for tea cakes and walked around 6 neighborhoods in Corpus Christi. Sunburned, but did it. It gave me some interesting experiences. Yes,
wow.
That's funny. Now, I know a lot of people who've done that were introverted, and that was a life-changing experience for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, for me, knocking on 350 doors was a life-changing experience.
Look at Terry's next comment right here.
I missed it. What is it?
I stopped doing door cards when a snake was on someone's front porch.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Ooh,
was it a rattlesnake? Was it poisonous or not? That's the question.
Well, sometimes you don't want to find out.
You know, if I had copperhead.
This is what I would do. This is what I do. If I had more door cards, I skip that house and I go until they're gone.
Door cards. There's a lot of door cards.
500 door cards.
500 door cards.
Or in New England, you call them door cards.
I stopped door to door when
Wicked smart with the door cards.
Wicked smart. Wicked awesome door cards. Sorry, John.
That's when I quit doing door to door, when a friend's dog bit me in the tush.
Oh yeah. But now let's take a look really quick at what Terry's doing. So Terry does tea cakes. Okay, so she does like baking and everything, and I know she does cookies, cupcakes, and all kinds of like that. And so we've been talking about, because she's in the Live Event Marketers group, and we're talking about right now what she does actually. So this is like her side hustle. Okay, wow. But what she normally does is where she runs events and stuff for a hotel.
Oh.
But of course, that's, those events aren't happening right now.
Not much.
But well, now we're getting like now we're supposed to be doing that, and we're talking about Terry's thing. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead.
But anyway, so this is an example of where she's in essence then working a network out, right? It's like you're talking about, like it's almost like the card, to where it's just like kind of saying, hey, neighbors, I'm someone that exists. And that's just really like kind of like the first shot across the bow, so to speak, and getting those around you familiar with you. And that's really the thing is, I think ideally we would always like to, meet somebody new at an event or even virtually, and then they just like us and everything just, boom, no more having
make it easy.
Yeah, that was just all easy and swell and one and done, and we just keep on adding people to our list of everybody likes us and knows us and was willing to work with us and stuff. But the simple fact is she's put it in literally sweat equity, you know what I mean, with the situation of how things are right now. But even if it wasn't, the situation we are in now, it literally does take sweat equity. You have to go out and understand that some people are going to like you, some people won't like you, and then there's going to be some people in the middle.
Well, and it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. Absolutely.
You got to kiss a lot of frogs before you get your prince of a customer. I mean, and we, for example, there's a guy here. Well, guy is a kid. He's 10 years old. He's developed a baking business, and he delivers stuff all over the place here. But he developed his network through Facebook in Coronado, because we have something called the Coronado Yard Sale, which is for selling things. But we also have the Coronado Happenings, which is kind of like a blotter that a lot of people have in their various towns, or what is it called? The patch patch is what a lot of people have. And so he developed his business such that when this whole pandemic thing hit and he wasn't in school anymore, he's still baking and delivering stuff, but he's delivering it to people's doorsteps. They pay him by Venmo, which is awesome. You got a 10-year-old earning money through Venmo, and he's baking away in between his homeschooling.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome.
I was going to say one thing I found interesting on Martinez thing. I accidentally popped it up.
Yeah, no, go ahead, pop it up because I didn't actually get to read it.
I'll pop it back up again.
Yeah.
But one thing I loved about this is, that's one thing I found early on that really helped me a lot in connecting with other people. But it was doing a lot of one-on-ones with other people as one-to-one interviews. That does help a lot. That'll boost your networking skills and communication skills a lot.
And you'll still get into the same sort of flow state eventually that you have with dance, but it's just going to be rewiring your brain cells so that you feel that same degree of ease. We got a bunch of comments. We got dead air too sometimes.
Well, that was dead air because I was taking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was looking at Terry's other comment.
I can't leave my name in someone else's hands. I just thought if I put the time in, people will see and know my integrity and continuity. It's my business.
Well, yeah, you want to speak in your own voice, I guess, is what it is, as opposed to outsourcing.
Well, but also, I think also what Terry's saying too is basically like, look, you want to succeed, you got to make it happen. And if it means, like you say, kissing a lot of frogs, you got to do it. I mean, because when all's said and done, I mean, again, there's a lot of people that will, they'll look at you at a certain point and say, oh, look at you, oh, it's great. You have this and that. And it's like, you didn't know how many frogs I had to kiss. And it wasn't like, again, it's not that it was that overnight 112-day thing or, or whatever, 7 years of building, whatever.
Yeah. 70 years building an overnight success.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got a couple decades to go and I can be that overnight success at 70 something.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's absolutely true. That it's networking is a process, and in order for, and if you think about it too, like I've always said it like this: being famous means that a lot of people know you. Period. So being famous means a lot of people know you. Now, whether that's being famous for something positive or something negative, you know what I mean? So, partly that's what I built my group for, is for me to get to know people that are, in the business and marketing field that are doing live events and live streams and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, like I've met you guys already. It's just, one quick example, but at the same time, I've continued to reach out and talk with you guys and even communicate, with, DM every now and then about this, that, or other thing. And then, liking, commenting on posts and stuff. But again, it's building that. And there's some people that will do it artificially, and then I think some actually I have started kind of artificially. Then you find something, like boom, you kind of find a little connection. Like you didn't know that they start bringing up some topic and then it actually becomes real.
Yeah. And I think there is a little bit of the fake it till you make it thing. I mean, you may have the integrity, the good intention, everything, but you may not feel comfortable with certain techniques, like saying something. And I think trained myself over a long period of time. I look geographically for people too, and I'll say, you're from Rochester. I grew up in Buffalo. But that I've been doing it for so many years with patients that I would always try to find a little connection whenever I met somebody new. It could have been the name, like, oh, my sister's name is Michelle, just like, your name. And how do you spell it, with 2 L's or 1? But that's just the way. Maybe it's just a mind for trivia, and I like to store all that data in my brain. Mm-hmm. But it was always trying to get little pieces of data to kind of put together what at least would be a mental model that I might have of their particular personality and their background.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I say, it could be that, part of your trivia thing, but also it creates familiarity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That there's some sort of connecting point, and the more connecting points you can get, then the more connected you feel. I mean, it's
well, you're right, because I'm the one who's feeling better since I found a connection with the person.
And I think it also helps.
And they feel better too. Yeah, they get the
connecting.
But it's interesting when I find something in common that just sort of tickles me, get a certain surprise and delight. Like it's a game. Then I just found something new. There's a little Easter egg in there.
Well, and even from what you said, like your background too, it might help put you at ease, but then it also has another level of what it does. It does connect you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I think there's a big difference between just showing up at a networking event and actually participating, connecting, and having good intentions, as opposed to just seeing the next person as a checkbook or a credit card.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that too is like, put that aside in a sense when you actually try to network with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and just understand that it's a numbers game, but understand that it will equal that done right. You know what I mean? Like, you actually really are trying to connect with them. And again, knowing that it's not going to be every single one that you meet, and some are going to, you're going to, some, you're going to flop. Some are going to just completely ignore you. Cause sometimes I've gotten into even, some face-to-face, I'm usually pretty jokey and I can kind of get in or find some kind of angle. And then you can tell they just totally brushing you off. And even though after a couple attempts, and I'm like, all righty, well, and then I just move on to the next thing, like even just at a social event, you're just trying to meet people, and you're not necessarily trying to network for any specific gain, even though you may be at like a business event, like I've been at, like at a seminar that I've been at. So you got a social part of it, and you're all kind of related in the marketing realm, at least for me, right? So anybody you talk to could be somebody or something, but you're just trying to there to be social and just look for connections, even for the night. Cause you're like, well, what do I do? Just go to my room and watch something on, the TV or whatever, or what, but why not build something?
It's surprising to me, because I've met a lot of political famous people at cocktail parties in DC, because I spent 27 years living around there, and you can't help but meet these people. And it's really interesting to meet people face to face in a social situation, and they can be so incredibly different than they are in your perception of them on TV and at events when they're making speeches. And on the other hand, there's some people who may appear a little bit more reserved, but when you get one or two beers in them, they're super nice. And they really do desire to connect with you. And it's just fascinating to see how in a live social situation, a lot of the defenses can come down, to the point I remember I once insulted Ralph Nader in person. So I'm sorry, Ralph.
Oops.
But it's fascinating at parties and things. It's not my natural environment, so I'll always try to find a connection someplace with somebody.
Of course.
Yeah. Did you pop up Martinez then, you were saying?
Yeah, what was that? There was something about she teaches.
I did, yeah, because she said, well, it's out there now. Again, interesting enough, I teach confidence too. And I'm not surprised, because dance and confidence go together.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
But it takes a lot of confidence to be dancing on a stage in front of 1,000
I mean,
people.
if you think about it, dancing really is another presentation of yourself. You're not maybe necessarily speaking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
there is flow. There's flow involved, that you've practiced and practiced and practiced such that you're almost on automatic pilot, or you can add and improvise things that you normally wouldn't try. The person who hasn't taken a lot of lessons and practiced wouldn't try. Same thing with jazz. If you're playing an instrument, you're going to be able to take liberties and have fun and play around with it, because you've got those infamous Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours under your belt. And networking, it may take you 10,000 hours to become the supreme networker, if that's your main job.
And the interesting thing, you actually say that, the first thing that pops in my mind is like I talked about before, or I should say in a previous live stream. I always like to reference those past ones, but for me, when I was younger, my goal was always, I want to make X amount of money, and then I can have a really nice lifestyle. And I realized that way sooner than that, you can have a really nice lifestyle. So I think it's the same thing too. You could still have good networking results way before that 10,000 hours.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But I think jumping into the networking pool is the way to do it.
Yeah, we should definitely change our name. The Quarantini Hour.
Yeah, my wife actually made a big picture of Quarantinis not too long ago. It was fun. But that's more of a Friday. That's more of a Friday thing. I mean, that's our happy hour.
I like that.
Oh my gosh, Fridays went off the cliff, man. I was like,
way off the rails on Friday. But that's all right.
Mean, yeah, no,
hey, in terms of networking, we made a lot of connections with a lot of people. Plus, we had my sister's kitchen cam going.
Oh man, that was quite interesting.
pretty funny. You just never know.
Your sister cracks me up. That's all.
Plenty of cats too. Plenty of cats on board for that one. It was Catterday was Friday.
And kitchen cam.
The kitten cam, the kitchen. Still like the kitchen cam. It's like, what's cooking?
Yeah, sure.
I'll go all over there. Except her microphone.
Well, we still don't have sound for her. That's the thing.
But everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing that I've had a few more people doing. So with live event marketers in that group, I've had a few more people reaching out to me using the built-in option to send through Facebook an audio, right? So they would just record an audio to me instead of type it out. And I think that's actually another really cool way to reach out. Sometimes because like when you type, sometimes you think, and if you get into that edit mode, you're like, oh, that sounds dumb, or next thing you know, maybe you don't ever actually connect with somebody.
Yeah. Or so I think edits for you and screws everything up that you say anyway. So you're better off getting it right the first time. Let me just record it.
Yeah, I know. Auto.
I'll tell you, but one thing that bothers me about that, and it's my only little quirk or pet peeve on my side, which is that sometimes I would prefer to have the message than have an audio recording, because I got to sit here and get the audio recording up to my ear and play it when nobody else is around, or use earbuds. But the other thing is that to me it was almost like, maybe I'm looking at the pessimistic part of it, was that the person didn't have enough time or energy to type something up, and so they just hit record. So.
Well, you bring up a valid point that, okay, two things. One, either it was easier for them to talk, because like I said, they're, editing, or the reality is they actually may be a busy person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they actually may be somebody you do want to connect with. You know what I mean? And sometimes we'll use a tool.
This has happened in part with people who are super busy, who are, these 7-figure marketers, and others will send me a message back just a recording, which is fine.
They're busy and they're just going to record something.
Yeah, that's a whole other story where somebody's pretending to be busy.
Yeah. I'm so busy at the record, and the backstory.
How important I am. I can only press record.
Yeah.
A second for you.
But hey, I guess that could still fall into the fake it till you make it thing. Maybe if they get enough people that fall for it.
Oh, speaking of faking till you make it, and recording and doing live events, this is one of the things that happened to me just the other day. Was it? It was in live event marketers. I pressed the button because I was trying to use is it Broadcaster Studio or can't remember what the name of it is, but the Facebook native app, and you can put your face on there, and I was switching back and forth between face and screen, and I wanted to share the screen, and as soon as I hit broadcast, I could no longer share the screen. Bugged the living daylights out of me, because that's just not a very functional thing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You were saying though that there were issues with that. That
there are issues
or whatever. Especially,
I freaked out though, because my God, I can't get it to work.
Yeah, well, I think it was like you're having more issues with the share screen.
Yeah.
Part of it or whatever. Yeah.
But the thing is, it gives you a false sense of confidence. When you're testing the app before you go live, and you go, I can see my face, I can see the tab of the screen, I can go back and forth. Good, let's broadcast. And then boom, you can't share your screen anymore.
Yeah, and I don't really use like the native app a whole ton. I've used it like maybe once or twice just to kind of check it out. So that, I never even looked into that.
But I'm trying to learn it just so that I can stay through experience, or when they do make improvements, hey, this is better now. Since I'm talking to a bunch of doctors who want to do this kind of stuff, and maybe they don't want StreamYard, maybe they don't want to be live. They want, make it, break it down Barney style and make it as easy as possible for them.
For some things, that's always going to be better because they get more traction typically with the native app.
Yeah, we've seen that with social posting for sure. Big difference between Hootsuite and something.
That was a question that I had, John. I mean, it made sense, but I was like, I bet you do. Again, it was my assumption that through the native app that you get more traction.
We tested a long time ago, and Cy at Crowdcast and I were chatting back and forth a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. That we thought you were getting more traction with the native app than the API.
I've seen it with simple posting. Posting something on Instagram, it gets you a lot more than if you're sending it through Hootsuite or Blogspot, or what are some of the other ones, HubSpot or some of the others.
I do think it's balanced out a little bit over time. It does seem to be improved over what it used to be.
Well, and I think also part of it too is I think the frequency with which you post, particularly if it's good content, I think there's a certain amount of forgiveness that whatever social platform that you're using, I mean, if you're getting engagement on this stuff, the social platform prefers it to somebody who's using their native app and not getting engagement. That's my theory.
Yeah. Speaking of engagement and even, networking. So say, you're going to go post on somebody's live stream or just a post they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or even give it a like or a heart or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember how I talked about Facebook not notifying people? But then the past, like, let's see, what was it, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday-ish of last week, they were doing better. And I was like, oh, they're back to what they used to do. Now they're back to not really notifying people.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating. And because I think what they did is, the way I thought is, okay, so the pandemic hit, so they're like, we got to pull resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so so the notifications is basically one of the places they pulled it from. And then, like I said, it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week. Everything was just showing up. And so I'm like, oh, great. Now somebody did reply to this, so I can go comment again. Oh, somebody like that. Oh, cool. That's good to know. And you can feel like, oh, maybe this person, I'm building a relationship with them, etc. Well,
yeah, they've been shutting me down on comments. It's like, what? I'm saying something nice. I'm engaging. I'm sorry, you can no longer use that function right now. So you may pray to the Facebook gods, but the Zook giveth and the Zook taketh away.
Yes.
That's super dependable.
So, yeah.
I did want to say real quick, a step jump back. I want to say that Terry, I do know that her catchphrase is "bake it till you make it."
I like that a lot.
I really like that one too.
That's
thought that was
great.
Really clever.
Bake it till you make it.
Yeah.
That's
So
not
anyway.
a half-baked idea.
Yeah, because you just don't want raw dough out there. Although some people do like cookie dough.
They do.
So yeah.
You know what's funny? Now y'all got me on a tangent. So like, my wife likes those like really soft cookie things to me like that, and I the really soft cookies. And I mean, there's a difference between a soft cookie that's baked like right, but it's still soft, and there's the uncooked cookie.
I see.
And I hate when you go to some place and they're like advertising it as a soft cookie, and I'm like, no, this is like just not fully baked.
It's the uncookie.
Because I hate those. Yeah.
It's the uncookie, like the uncola.
There you go.
Raw.
Anyway,
raw and unbaked. From the kitchens of Troy McDonald. Raw and unbaked. The uncookie.
No, mine would be baked. My wife would.
Oh, yours would be baked. Okay.
Less baked or whatever.
Baked.
Then you could nail them to the sheet behind you. A cookie backdrop.
Which, by the way, there's actually construction going on back here. Or
Really?
I should say rearranging.
Are you constructing a bakery to make cookies?
No, remember I told you I'm redoing my live stream setup.
Oh, that's right. You're going to have the ultimate studio.
Well, it's just something that like is more my personality versus this, this lovely thing.
I thought you had a very vanilla white sheet-like personality.
Are you trying to call me white? Is that a racist comment?
White boy. Hey, in the past, I've been called a reverse Oreo, that I was white on the outside, on the inside, and I didn't know quite how to take it.
I've never heard that, reverse Oreo. Interesting.
I've been referred to that by some of my patients. So
there you go.
I was going to say an interesting point.
I must have built rapport with them. That's all I can say.
It's interesting though. Like, a tongue-in-cheek comment like that, just on being, funny. It depends on how you deliver stuff. Because to me, I have a tendency to do a lot of sarcasm.
Well, there's that $1 million curtain.
Yes, she knows.
She does know.
The signature series.
The signature series.
Coming down. Millie Vanilli.
Cookies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Train. Oh boy. She's really commenting. This is great. Millie Vanilli. I guess that would be me. Except I do not do lip syncing. That's the difference.
That's the difference.
Yes.
Big difference.
My voice is real.
Sometimes, unfortunately, right?
Only your perception.
I actually can only sing half decent, like when it's with. It has to really depend on the song, and then just put me in a choir because I need other people to like mesh with. But don't
Troy. Unlike you, I can sing whole decent rather than half decent.
Or there's 3/4 decent.
3/4 decent. 7/8. 7/8 decent. 1/8 indecent.
There you go.
All right, so I guess we're coming up to the top of the hour very quickly.
5 minutes of tangents and wrapping into something
more tangents, networking tangents
of networks. Of
Bring
networking
cookies to your networking meeting. That's Troy's advice.
Well, in reality, you can do something that. My point is you need to bring yourself, because again, if you build on a false foundation, I don't have a problem with you faking it till you make it, but look again for those things you can connect with.
Yeah.
Even if you're just trying to grasping for straws in the beginning to try and see if you can find some, and sometimes they just fizzle out and don't happen and don't
You
work.
may get a hold of one of those straws.
Right. And so, it may work out, or just, it may take longer than expected, etc. But yeah, you have to be yourself, and you pull from your thing. Maybe, you're wanting to build a business relationship, but sometimes it goes off onto a side thing, and you connect through baking or food, or, just any kind of thing, or cats, maybe you have a cat or something like that.
Or you can talk about the musical cats.
Or music, or yes. Oh gosh.
You can combine them all together.
Or you could talk about the fact that you're a reverse Oreo, and maybe that's a connection or something. You know what I mean?
More than one person had said that to me, so I was like,
well, then you better look up reverse Oreo, because there might.
Oh no, it was actually their way of complimenting me, that I was far more sincere and down to earth than I would appear to be, apparently. So
yeah. It's good though.
Yeah. Oh no, I accept it as a compliment, but it was just I'd never heard that expression before, and then I heard it twice. So anyway, but
I'm laughing at you, Terry. I just read her comments.
Yeah, reading comments and through is really interesting. Hey, at least one thing I'll say about StreamYard is the comments are coming quicker than they have for me in the past, but it may be because I entered the broadcast studio under your username, John. So maybe that was it. It's a lot easier. What is that? Is there's an angry face on top of your face, John? What is that?
Must be me.
Are you angry again?
Might have been your reverse Oreo comment.
It might have been. I don't know. I just repeated what somebody else told me. So.
If you're not,
hey, don't shoot the messenger, right?
You're marketing.
Exactly.
That's the way
it was a reaction. So that's all it counts.
It might be the an automated reaction too. When one just never knows.
I don't. Be interesting to go back and take a look at see where the spikes are in the live to see what happens. So, but
good.
Yeah, networking. Get some.
We're hitting that top of that hour too.
Yes. Which brings on final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I just gave mine. Networking. Get yourself some. Actually, the other one I was going to say is BYOS. Bring your own self.
I'll do the next comment. I think the key to networking these days is concentrate on being a human being that's worth connecting with, and just act like a human being when you do that, because we get so many people who try to connect with us who just try to microwave all those relationships.
Yeah, remember, it's not just social media; it's human media.
It is, and there's no humanity to that kind of. That's not networking. That's not even a basis for connecting. It's more a basis.
It's probably like systematic. It's systematic plotting.
Yeah. So that steps off of my pet peeve.
Get off your peeve.
Yeah.
My last thought would be to actually put it into play, because I think so many people know it, but they're not doing it. And I think so many people actually are. Okay, let me actually be a little more specific. I see a lot of marketers, because that's kind of my people, and I see a lot of marketers are frustrated that their business is not doing as well as they want. And I see from what I see a lot of is they want the microwave results, and then they also are not attempting to network at all. And then when they do attempt to network, it is the microwave results. They're really going in to see, what can I suck from you? What kind of, like life force can I suck out of you? And yeah, you'll get some benefit from me, like you'll get an affiliate commission or whatever. Right. Well, that's not, I can get an affiliate commission from many other things. I'm looking for, as a business person myself, I'm looking for longer term things.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, unless your product makes sense and it's going to be something longer term for me, then I might be a little more piqued But there's too many, again, flash in a pan type of relationships, or flash in a pan type products in my sphere. But I'm really looking for longer term relationships, because then if you're a longer term relationship with me, I have, all my other network of people that I would love to recommend to you, because it helps them out, and I know it help you out, and I want to help you out because you and I we're networked. We're like, really becomes a friendship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, actually put it into place. Understand that, again, like I said, some you're gonna fall flat on, some are gonna be mediocre, and some are gonna work, and it's just a numbers game. But actually, just do it. I mean, like, so many people in my group, I think, and this is, I bring it up every now and then with them, but I'm going to be continuing to bring it up, is reach out, start to get to know people in the group, hit them with a DM, and talk to them, and just, hey, I saw you in the group. I liked your live stream, or I liked your comment about this or that. And just, again, it's a numbers game. You got to try and see where you can connect.
Yeah.
But friends really do want to help friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody comes to me, it's not a match, I might, first off, I'll tell them why I don't think it's a match. Like, I think your product still or your service, right, or your offering still lacks some things, and it's coming from love. I mean, I really want to help them out to be successful, and I feel like I've got to be honest. Oh, it's Catterday.
Cat Cam.
And Cat Cam. Or the other thing is, say if I don't think it's a complete match or whatever, then I'm gonna, my brain is automatically gonna go, well, who can I help this friend out with? Like, so who do I know this matches up with? And I say, have you hit up such and so? Well, I don't even know them. I will say, even before people typically have to ask, usually, I mean, I won't say it's 100% time, but I'll be like, do you know such and so? Oh, no, you don't? Oh, do you want me to introduce you? Because I already know that's probably in the back of their mind. Oh, it would be nice if I knew them or whatever, but and that kind of thing. And then you have to, sometimes you have to help people too when it comes to networking. This is an interesting point just popped in my head. People aren't always great networkers back. Okay. Because maybe they haven't really implemented it. Right. So you have to that's where the follow-up comes up, or just touching bases. And I like to comment on people's posts, or give them a like and that kind of thing, because I might be interested in their friendship. You know what I mean? Like, I know that they're kind of in my realm or my sphere of where they might fit in, but if I don't have really time to check them out or whatever, I'll do a little thing that might be a little thing, a little kind of shot across the bow. And then every now and then I'll do it. So I'm not a complete stranger, because I've had more often than not things come up where it was wow, I'm so glad, I'm saying to myself, this is me talking to myself, I'm so glad, like, I was kind of hitting them up over, man, it's been 6 months, just little things across, here across the bow every now and then, that I'm not a complete stranger. Now, that doesn't mean that it's now we're all, like, oh, $1 million deals together and whatever, but I'm not a stranger anymore. So sometimes I just, plant seeds, and then there's some that I'm actually actively, pruning and growing. And then there's some I'm harvesting from.
And hopefully you're watering all of them.
Oh,
You met my cat?
good point.
So follow-up is the most positive FU you can ever use.
No, the FUN is the most.
The N. Well, no, that's what I do. I say always put the N after FU.
Yes. It's always good.
Hopefully that little angry thing didn't come from that.
So there you have it.
All right.
Great seeing everybody today.
Are we back tomorrow?
Yeah, of course.
Really? Cool.
We're always back.
El martes.
Back to back. We're always back to back.
Like a bad penny.
2:05 p.m. Pacific, 3:05 Mountain Time,
12:05 Hawaiian time,
4:05 Central Time, and 5:05 Eastern Time.
5:05. And that 5:05 is not to be confused with the New Mexico area code.
Yes, correct.
Oh, correct.
But you didn't mention what time it was Alaska. You said Hawaiian.
It is 1:05 Alaskan time.
Okay.
Good at this. Scared me.
I'm getting good at it because I'm remembering all the places my sister lived prior to her being in New York.
Oh, she lived in Alaska?
Oh yeah, for 4.5 years. She worked for United Airlines. So
Oh, right. I remember you saying
long
that.
story for the future. So,
Long story. We'll get into that next.
it was a story about persistence. Yeah,
That's important.
it is important.
And on that
All
note,
right.
bye, everyone.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Ciao.